Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chicken Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
I'm Peter.
And I'm not Peter. So he's
not.
Peter, I'm Frank, and today we're going to talk about the Coen Brothers, little director's cut.
I
don't
gotta
know,
tell you, I'm
I
not
know,
sure.
He was so excited when he
I'm not sure, like, if I hid that well. When you got it, you passed it to me, and I looked at the ticket. I was I was so excited.
So excited, the Coen Brothers.
I try not to like get excited. Well, yeah, I'm excited no matter who, but this one, I was trying to restrain myself a little bit. Yeah, big fan of the Coen
let's be
Brothers.
honest. There are some where you look and go, all right, this will be
It's a challenge.
So anyway,
That's only happened once or twice.
Coen,
And I think we know it.
So yeah.
Coen Brothers. Looking forward to that
Coen
one.
Brothers.
I've got a question for you.
All right.
You, our last episode, you posed a question where you said, "Is there a movie out there which may be better served, maybe the public might be better served if it were like in a kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah,
in a streaming
talked about
episodes.
Eternals. You could probably
maybe
broken that up a bit.
Maybe get us to know the story, the characters, where it all fits a little better. So that made me think: is there a series out there, a streaming service, whatever, where it goes the other way, where you say, maybe this would be better if it were just a movie, one and done, kind of.
All right, cool.
Not one and done, but you know what I mean. Just done together and and just presented in that format.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll think about that. You want to start with Coen Brothers?
Sure.
Go
Start
ahead.
with the Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
I really love the work that these two brothers do as directors. They write, maybe not all of their stuff, but they add to the scripts anyway. But
they bring their own.
They bring their own for sure. But their eye that they have, they present stuff in such a way, and I'm not going to say everything works either, because
they've had some misses.
Yeah, there are some movies that I'll say, okay, seen it. Yeah. Okay, I may not come revisit that one, but most of their stuff I am just a sucker for.
For example,
there's so many. There are so many, and I'm going to say that there's a lot. There's a lot. That I couldn't.
But you had to pare it down to 3.
I had to pare it down, and I have to tell you, these 3 to me are my favorite 3. And I went through everything, but I really didn't have as difficult a time as I thought.
All right.
Because there are some movies that are way up there. There's like this certain strata of, for me, Coen Brothers, and they are all good. But there's 3.
All right.
There are 3 that are even better than that.
And we're all eager to hear what they are.
Oh, I was all done. We're going to start with The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
This movie...
How many of us knew that was going to happen?
Yeah, this movie, I can't even adequately express how much I love it, how much I admire it. There's so much going on in this movie, and yet there's not much going on in the movie. But it's amazing. And it always helps that the Coen Brothers can get the right actors when they want and how they want.
Yeah.
And you can easily say, okay, well, they get good actors, and that's why they get good movies. No, they elicit these performances from their people. They are able to, through good writing, it's the eye, the direction, it's all wonderful. Jeff Bridges in this movie, fantastic. It was definitely one of my picks when we did Jeff Bridges. There is so much in this movie, and there's so many movies of the Coen Brothers especially that can go too dark, but they never really let it get that way, or too silly, and doesn't quite get that way.
Yeah.
There's this heart, and there is a heart underneath that scruffy, amotivational character known as the dude. And it's wonderful to see how he's thrust into this situation.
He just wants to be left alone, goal and doable, and
you got it. And just like have his white Russians, listen to some Creedence. Hey, he's happy.
Yeah.
And I just love it. There's a setting, there's a feeling, and I can watch. These three movies that I'm going to come up with are movies we've talked about this before. A question, I think. Are there movies that stop anything, anytime, watch it? These three are anytime. Just yes. Is that on now, or are we going to watch that now? Drop everything.
Yeah.
I'll stop and I'll watch that movie.
It's a good thing you're not a surgeon.
Yeah, exactly.
Walk by the waiting room.
Hold this.
Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. They're at the ashes part with Donnie.
Here's the thing. Oh, the ferret's in the bathtub now. Hang on, I gotta watch this. There's just so many things, and there's just so many times I catch myself just thinking of a line or hearing something that will relate in my mind to a line from the movie, and there I am in my head.
All right.
My daydreamy sort of life that I lead. Big Lebowski. Second one is another one with, as all their movies have, this attention to detail, and there is a realism in their movies. No matter how strange things may seem, there's this realism, and some are a little darker than others, and this one is one of those. Fargo.
Yeah.
Fargo to me is it's still fun, but not funny as Lebowski can be. It is just this serious situation going on, and it follows a couple of losers and trying to get rich quick, and other hoodlums trying to get money and this sort of thing. But it centers around this sheriff who's just doggedly determined to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Because smaller town,
She's a good
smaller
cop.
rural sort of not a rural, but smaller town, and and all of a sudden there's like a serious situation that has happened that normally doesn't happen. And I know I mentioned this one when we did Francis McDormand, because it is just fantastic, and I love it. And the thing that's very similar in a way with Lebowski and with Fargo is it centers on relationships. There's a certain relationship you could say between the dude and some of his buddies, on the bowling side, but in this one, there's a real relationship, which I just love. I know I said it with Francis McDormand, but there is a marriage that is portrayed as one of the nicest relationships on cinema, on film. It's wonderful, and it's not a normal one because there is a cop and the cop is married to a civilian, we'll say. And those two worlds don't necessarily fit. It obviously can work out, and it does work out in real life. And it's portrayed in just a wonderful, loving give and take. There's different roles at different times.
Yeah, usually in a when there's a cop movie type of thing, the spouse and what the spouse, like anything more than just that's the spouse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the conversation that they have when she kind of wakes up and he's going to make her a little bit of breakfast.
Yeah.
His whole thing about entering something to be a stamp, you could remove that from you could remove that from the movie completely, and you wouldn't lose anything because
you wouldn't know.
Exactly right. You would, but the thing is,
exactly
that it's in there, it adds this. It gives this very minor character so much depth.
It does. It in certain things that he does in the background for her, like when you say like the spouse of the cop within TV and movies is usually portrayed as either nervous all the time, worried, or sometimes just making threats and you got to quit. I can't take this anymore.
Or they become
we're
a victim.
Gonna break up. Or
they're
we're
going
gonna
to become a victim. Anybody who dated Sonny Crockett on Miami Vice is just
man.
like, oh baby, you're going to die.
How much more time do you have?
Seriously, it's the third commercial break.
I can't believe you're still living.
How are you still alive? You must have a pretty good agent.
So like I just
quarter by 10 and you're still alive.
I just love their relationship, and there's this detail, this attention to detail, and part of it is to like leave or to put in that little conversation about the postage stamp and painting the
and it just gives again minor character. He has zero influence on the plot,
but
really none.
It rounds out her character, and it gives perfect
exactly. So.
And I love that one. And I'm sorry if I'm starting to ramble on this one. I just love these movies. And
we're used to your ramble.
Exactly. My third one is Inside Llewyn Davis. Loved it. This was one of my picks for Oscar Isaac. I love this movie. In the same way, it has this attention to detail. So it's almost like the Coen Brothers really are going back in time. In this case, the early 60s, the folk music scene in New York. And they like really seem to have done their homework. They know how things are going to fit, how things play out. But then they get, the actors in there and give them real stories and emotion, and they flesh out this stuff. And so if you watched this movie once, you would swear the movie is in black and white. But once you start to watch it again, you go, oh my God, I forgot. It's not in black and white. It's just kind of muted tone.
Yeah, but the 60s were in muted tones anyways.
It's this like
we didn't get bright colors until the late 70s.
It's this slushy winter New York scene, and he's never properly dressed because he doesn't have that much money, and because he's trying to do this whole not beatnik thing. He's doing the folk scene. Well, there are beatniks within the folk scene.
Sucks when you're trying to be an artist, man.
And he wants to stay true, and you really get the flavor of all three of these movies, and they're completely different. But you really sense this humanity, and they're able to bring this out. Not all the time, but in those three movies and in much of their other work, you always feel there's this humanity there. And this one has got a slower pace, but that's how it's supposed to be. And it's just done really well. And I can't say enough about those three movies. And I had to leave so many out there. And you know something? Yeah. There are so many others that I would stop and drop anything to watch them do. But those are my three.
Excuse me. My three, we are totally different.
Wonderful.
My first one, it's so funny. You think of a Coen Brothers movie, and you do think of Lebowski, and you do think of Fargo, where sort of, funny things happen in serious situations.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, when you've got William H. Macy, and he's trying to clean off his car, and he's just, and it's that big wide shot of him, and just in this desolate parking lot, and he's so frustrated. He's just like, you can't help but laugh at him.
Especially if you lived in that climate,
you
know what that is.
You know what that's like. And and to watch, I mean, it's really funny, but it's just like, oh, he's also got his wife kidnapped. People are going to die. This is a really serious situation going on. And but I'm laughing at this guy because he's just losing his mind.
He's frustrated.
Yeah. So, but they do a really, really nice job of finding those pockets of lightness in a very serious thing. And I would say that Burn After Reading. Burn After Reading is one of those where it's just it really there's so much sort of you're laughing at these people who are just ridiculous. Frances McDormand is fighting with her insurance company to get like all sorts of cosmetic surgery. Like it's like, and then I can be my best self, and you've got Brad Pitt who's just like with the gum and he's got his headphones, and you've got Malkovich who's just this pompous ass, and he's just my memoirs, and but it's all of that, and nothing really happens. It's just like, oh, we found a CD with some stuff, and it's real spy shit, and it's just these absolute idiots.
Yes,
but then it's just like, and you've got then someone gets killed. It's like fuck. But at the end of it, and I guess it's like J.K. Simmons, who sort of sums it all up, is just like, oh, wait a minute, so her surgeries, just so many thousands, fine. And this one's dead, okay, all right, okay, fine. It's just like, and that's how at the end of the movie, that's how you feel at the end of the movie. It's like, oh, okay, well, a lot of shit happened, and
I guess it worked out.
I guess everything all just kind of worked out. And you realize that this is just like, oh my, like just that entire, right? It's like all the little situations are really, really funny, but then the movie itself as a situation wraps up really kind of funny. So it's just like, let's straighten the papers and okay, let's go to lunch. That was fine. It was great. So I love that one because it is in the details. And it is getting these great performances. My next one would be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, love it.
Love that one. It's classic. Back when I was long-term subbing, I used that movie as a way to teach the Odyssey.
To teach them.
And it was great. And I got to tell you, I had one kid come up to me at the end of it. He's just like, you know what, Mr. Hauser? I ended up like I'm reading the Odyssey. Like, you're supposed to be reading the Odyssey. He goes, yeah, but I'm like really reading it. Like, I'm really reading it. But it was great because it got kids sort of interested, and it made it approachable.
Approachable without the obstacles.
Yeah, exactly. So that one is my favorite because it's really, really funny.
Yeah.
And there's like there's so much like great subtle symbolism in there, and it's a great way to represent stuff from the story.
And the same thing, they tie it in with history, what's going on with the TVA at the time.
And what's going on with radio and time and all that stuff like that. Yes. So they make it relevant to the time period. Exactly. Like they could have taken that story and it not be in like, the early 1900s. They could have taken it and put it in the future or in the mid-50s or the 80s or whatever.
Back in Greek mythological times even.
So, exactly. But they found this, just like, we're going to do it here.
Perfect.
So, fantastic. And then my next one would be, there's really no mirth in this one at all. It is just, it's dark and it's serious, it's blood simple. Which is like
that movie.
Well, it's really interesting. It's like
I think that was another Frances McDormand
one.
On that one,
But it's also so early that going into that, knowing what a Coen Brothers movie is, if you've seen Fargo, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Lebowski, and any Burn After Reading, you've seen any of the other sort of funny ones that they've done, and you're just like, oh, Blood Simple, I'm gonna watch. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be just like, wow. Oh, shit. There's nothing funny in this. There's nothing funny in
It's tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so good.
And it works.
And it does. It does. It's like a handful of characters. It's so tight. It's so good. And that's another one that you would not think, oh my God, that's a Coen Brothers movie. Because you think that it's going to be, it'll be kind of light and some funny stuff will happen and it'll be sort of, But they're able to do both.
They can do anything.
And it's fantastic.
There are some, and I got to be honest, I forget the sequence now. I know that Blood Simple's their first one.
Yeah.
I forget if Raising Arizona or maybe Miller's Crossing is the second or third. I forget the sequence. But you have a very serious one with Blood Simple, another very serious one with Miller's Crossing. and then you get
Raising
Arizona,
which also
is so funny.
it's really, really funny, but it's also this story about this family who wants a baby, so they kidnap it's about baby kidnapping.
They kidnap. It's also prison escape.
Yeah.
It's
So
you're like,
John
but they
Goodman
make it.
as well in that
They
one.
make it so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and I also love Barton Fink, which we there's a lot, so many.
There's they
No
really do.
A Country for Old Men, which
we talked about with Javier
Bardem.
Yeah. So they really do. They have, and they're such a great team. And sometimes one will let the other. It's just like, all right, so you get this, and I'll do this. I'll be back, or I'll just produce, but it's you don't have a lot of. I mean, there's so much collaboration in movie making, and in general. So, but to be able to collaborate in directing, I think is fantastic. So
that doesn't happen often.
No,
there's usually traditionally one director. I'm at the helm.
Right.
This is me.
Yeah. So, and they're able to do all sorts of great movies, and I just think they're fantastic.
I can't say enough.
Yeah.
I was so excited when they came up.
All right. So that question about a series that would work better as a movie.
Yeah, and you asked the opposite because you had an experience.
Yeah, we talked about
Eternals.
Eternals.
Now I've been watching one, and it's funny. It's striking me the other way.
Okay,
Get Back. It's that Beatles documentary. Peter Jackson done, but he's working with so much raw material from before.
Peter Jackson is so well known for just like cutting stuff down.
Yeah. So I started watching the first episode, and I'm a big Beatles fan. It's the right time period for me. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but I'm maybe 2 hours, maybe not even, maybe only an hour and 50 minutes into the first one.
There's like two and a half hours.
Yeah, we're talking like 9 hours, or not quite 9, over 8 hours of film here, a finished product, stretched out over 3 episodes. One movie. I think we got one there instead of this 3 extended episodes. So I don't know. I'm
one
just
that
thinking that
comes to mind, and this is totally unfair for me to say this about this because the series hasn't finished yet. The first season of the series hasn't finished yet, but it's kind of like where we are with the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And it's probably super unfair to talk about it because there's still a couple of episodes left.
Done, but
we just got the 5th episode, just to give you an idea of time where we are.
Which we're giddy about.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's Star Wars, so it's great. But I just wonder where it's going to end, and could it have been a Boba Fett movie the way they did like a Solo movie?
Yeah.
So it's just really that's something that's in my head right now, and once that's done, maybe we'll revisit that, and I don't know, talk about what I think about the Book of Boba Fett. So. But that's in my head. It's just like, okay, maybe a Boba Fett movie would have been a better idea.
Yeah, maybe so. Because I got to be honest.
We've only got
the best episode. Well,
don't say anything yet because people may not have seen it yet.
Yeah, well, the 5th episode is my favorite episode.
Yeah, so
we'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it there. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that's right. But another series that might have been a good movie. I don't know. I like series because I like, getting so much more, and you get a little bit more depth and stuff. But that's the thing that comes to mind right now because it's so in my face.
Oh yeah,
right now.
No problem. No, I just thought of it because you asked that other question.
Right.
Our last episode that made me think of what I've been watching with.
Beatles, yeah.
The Beatles one, Get Back, and I was feeling the reverse.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think.
Who's the next victim?
Don't know.
is funny. It's just because it's I don't know how funny it is.
Oh,
but it's like
You're right.
Yeah, I know it's funny.
It's,
That doesn't happen very often.
no, this doesn't. This
It
is
doesn't
a
happen
coincidence,
very. It's a
isn't it?
very. It's almost a coinky dink. So.
Oh, that's going to be
so
interesting.
That will be. Let's just. I just want to tell. We just.
Do we want to say it?
I don't know.
Up to you.
Nah, forget it.
No, we won't.
But you'll see why it's funny when
If
it's
you
funny.
catch us the
So
next
you'll catch us
episode. Yeah.
the episode after this. You'll
Yeah.
see why we found that amusing because it's an episode. It relates to an episode that we did before this. So,
Certainly relates
all right,
to
I'm
it.
going to stop babbling on. You guys have an awesome day. Thanks for watching and listening and all that great stuff. Be safe out there.
Take care.
Bye bye.